So, a nation wins a war for its independence. But once the dust settles, the real fight begins. We're talking about the fight for economic survival. This is the incredible story of how a brand new republic, starting with practically nothing, built an entire industrial nation from the ground up.
And this quote right here from Mustafa Kemal Atatürk himself is the key to understanding everything. He knew that political freedom is basically meaningless without economic self-sufficiency. I mean, what's the point of having your own flag and your own army if you can't control your own money or make your own goods? This single idea would become the engine for an economic miracle.
Just try to imagine the situation. The war is over, and the new Turkish Republic is born. But the reality was incredibly harsh. There was virtually no industrial base to speak of. Back in 1927, industry made up a tiny 7.4% of the economy. Everyday things like cloth, sugar, you name it, it was all imported. The country was completely dependent on other nations for the most basic things. Oh, and by the way, if you're enjoying this, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, turn on the notification bell, and share and like my videos. All the information here has been compiled from open sources. Thank you.
So, the first strategy, between 1923 and 1929, was to rely on the private sector. But, well, that approach was pretty much dead on arrival. First off, there just wasn't enough private money floating around to build huge factories. Second, the country had a major shortage of engineers and people with technical know-how. And then came the knockout punch, the 1929 Wall Street crash, which set off the Great Depression and just wiped out any hope of private investment.
Okay, so that plan clearly wasn't working. A huge shift was needed. If private companies couldn't build the nation's industrial backbone, then the state itself would have to step up and become the master builder. This wasn't about ideology, it was about pure national survival. A new, much bolder path had to be taken.
And this new policy got a name, Étatisme, or Devletçilik in Turkish. Now, it's really important to get this. This wasn't some rigid textbook ideology. It was a practical solution for a specific problem. The goal wasn't to crush private business. Instead, the state would jump in, build huge industries the country desperately needed, and then, down the line, maybe even hand them over to the private sector. It was pragmatism on a massive national scale.
An idea is one thing, right? But making it happen is everything. The actual blueprint for this massive undertaking was the first 5-year industrial plan, launched in 1933. This was the document that turned the vision into a real, coordinated plan to build a self-sufficient economy from scratch.
And the logic behind the plan was just brilliant in its simplicity. Step 1, use what you've got. Focus on industries that could process local raw materials, like Turkish cotton. Step 2, create a powerful engine to get it done. That was Sümerbank, a state-owned bank set up to finance, build, and run these new factories. And step 3, don't just build in one place. Spread the factories all across Anatolia to bring jobs and modernization to the entire country.
Just take a look at the massive scope of Sümerbank's mission. We're not talking about one or two things. This was a fully integrated industrial machine. From yarn and clothes to military boots, from paper to blankets, Sümerbank was designed to transform Turkish resources into finished goods for the Turkish people, touching almost every part of their lives.
But if you really want to understand the sheer ambition of this era, you have to look at its crown jewel, the Nazilli Textile Factory. Believe me, this was so much more than a place that made cotton fabric. It was designed to be a model for a whole new, modern society, a complete social revolution built around an industrial core.
Can you just imagine the scene at the grand opening in 1937? 480 looms all roaring to life at the exact same time. For Ataturk, that wasn't noise. He called it the music of industry. In that sound, he heard the promise of a better future for his people. A sound that meant progress, jobs, and national prosperity.
I mean, look at this list. It's absolutely incredible. The Nazilli factory wasn't just a workplace, it was a self-contained world. It had its own cinema, a radio, and a ballroom for dances, a 40-bed hospital and a pharmacy, a nursery so working mothers had childcare. It had reading and writing courses for adults, sports clubs, modern housing. It even had its own little train nicknamed the Gıdı Gıdı to bring workers from town. This wasn't just about creating a workforce, it was about building a modern, thriving community.
And that's the real key here. The factory was seen as an engine for social change. By providing education, healthcare, and culture, these industrial hubs were designed to create a new kind of citizen, one who's educated, healthy, and part of a modern society. The goal wasn't just profit and production, it was civilization itself.
This mission to build a new civilization didn't stop at the factory gates either. The state also took over foreign-owned railways and started a massive project to build new ones. Ataturk believed that, just like factories created modern citizens, railways would spread that prosperity and civilization across the land, connecting the new industrial heartland to the rest of the nation.
So, after all this incredible effort, did it actually work? Well, the numbers speak for themselves. This chart shows the transformation in black and white. You can see how industry went from being a tiny sliver of the economy in 1927 to a major player by 1938. The jump wasn't just real, it was huge.
In fact, let's boil it all down to one single powerful number, 3x. By 1938, in just over a decade, Turkey's industrial production had tripled. That's not just growth, that is an economic victory, plain and simple.
And let's put this into perspective. While most of the world was stuck in the Great Depression, Turkey became one of the fastest-growing economies on the entire planet. And you know what's the most amazing part? It was all done with its own resources. It was a victory achieved without falling into the trap of foreign debt.
So, in the end, this story shows us that building an economy is about so much more than just numbers on a spreadsheet. It's about building a society, a culture, and a shared future. It leaves us with a pretty big question to think about. When a nation builds an industry, what is it really building besides the factories?